Welcome to Stream School with InDeeDee. Lesson 1 is in session. So these are the things we're going to be going through today. We're going to be going through the goals. We're going to be going through what is a content creator, then how do I set up, streaming levels, Twitch jargon, building your brand, and finally the do's and don'ts. Now, our goals. What is the aim? Why do we want to do this? Why are we actually here? So, my goal as an advisor is to help those that want to know more about becoming a content creator on any given platform. So, as someone who wants to help you, this is why I'm doing it. This is what the aim is. So, what's a content creator? Now, I know a fair few people are like, oh, I know what that is. But the best definition for a content creator is very simple. A content creator is someone who is responsible for sharing information to any media source. In this case, I communicate information via gaming and sharing knowledge. And Twitch is the platform I choose to relay this information. Next, how do I set up? Now, I know this is probably one of the biggest questions that people will ask because it's a very common question, and I'd be surprised if people didn't ask this question. So, how do I set up? We have 5 things that you would need in order to set up. So, first and foremost is your hardware setup. What are you streaming on? What equipment are you going to be using? The next thing to think about is your software setup. What services are you going to be using? What bots are you going to be using? Am I going to have commands in chat? Things and questions like that around the more so of the visual and how things work. Next, Twitch page setup. Now, this is really important. This is based on what panels you're going to be using, what streamer information you're going to be giving, what graphics are you going to be showing. As you guys can see from my own channel, if you scroll down, I've got my panel set up. I have specific artwork to cater for those panels. I have my about section set up. Everything that you need to know about me is down below in the panels. Next is the moderator team. A lot of people don't really kind of think about this one until after they started streaming. This is a big no-no. Reason why is because whether you're streaming to 1 or 100 or 1,000, 1 million, you've always got to make sure that you have a team on your side. Reason being is you can't do everything on your own. And to go in with nothing is, in my opinion, a little bit ill-prepared because anything can happen. You could be streaming a game and think, oh, I'm here on my own. And then someone raids you. You've got no mods to help you. You've got to do it all on your own. You have to stop doing the gameplay that you were doing, or, you have to stop doing what you're doing to actually progress. So it's very important that you have a mod team. So who will be moderating while you go live? And then finally, social media. How will you let people know that you're live? How will people know when you're going live? So we're going to be touching on all of these points today. Hardware setup, consoles, PlayStation and Xbox. Now, a lot of people kind of do feel that, when it comes to streaming, it's always got to be on PC. That is not necessarily the case. This is something that you can do via console. When I first started streaming, I started streaming off of my PlayStation 4. Eventually, I started building up. I started building and upgrading slowly but surely, went to a laptop, then went to a PC, and now I stream on a Switch, PlayStation, and PC. So this is all over the last few years of streaming. So PlayStation, so both of these consoles have built-in streaming software. This, for anyone who is a console streamer, will find this probably the most easiest to work through. So on PlayStation, how do you start up? You start your game and you press the share button. Now the share button is located on the left-hand side of your controller. And once you hit that share button, you can select the option to broadcast. And what it will do, it will allow you to broadcast the game that you are currently streaming. Now, you must be in the game before you activate this. It will not work otherwise. Then you select Twitch as an option. From there, you must log in. Sometimes if you've got 2-step verification, you may have to do that. So make sure you have all of your details handy. Then you can set the title and options for your broadcast, and then begin your broadcast straight away. Now, For Xbox, it's a similar process, but there are a few more steps in order to do this. On Xbox, you must open up the store tab on your dashboard. Then there should be a small search icon where you can find Twitch. If you haven't already downloaded Twitch to your Xbox, please make sure you do that and link your Twitch account to this. Then you open up your game. Again, just like PlayStation, you must be in the game you want to stream before you can broadcast. Next, return to your Xbox One dashboard and open the Twitch app. And then you can click on broadcast and you can select your title field and rename your Twitch broadcast, and make sure you select settings. By doing this, you can enable all the kind of settings you need, including your microphone, and make sure that you have your enable microphone box checked. Otherwise, when you are speaking through your headset, they may not hear you. Once you have all of those things set up and you are happy with it, hit that begin broadcast. It is really, really simple. Now, there are pros and cons to this. The pro is it's very simple. You don't really need to do much in order to go live on a console. The con is that you don't have overlays. You don't necessarily have alerts that will pop up. So as a backup, it's always good to potentially have a laptop next to you where you can actually, you know, run things like OBS and whatnot, because there's a way that you can link them, but it's a more of a lengthy process and there's a lot of wiring and setting up, which can make it a little bit more difficult. But if anything, at the very least, you must at least have a chat bot and have your stream open so that you can actually respond a bit more easier to people. Next, hardware setup on PC. Now, this one I know a lot of people do kind of ask, because it's very much like a lot of people stream from their PC or their laptop. So what do you need? You need a minimum spec, you need a minimum i5 processor, because anything lower than that is going to cause lag. It's not going to work properly. You're going to be dropping frames. And we all know, as streamers, when there are technical difficulties, we can get a little bit frustrated. So please make sure that the bare minimum, bare bones i5 processor. Next, you must have a minimum of 8 gig of RAM, because let's be honest, some of these things are very taxing on your gig space. It can be very harsh, and again, what you don't want is for your frames to drop. You don't want your stream to be lagging or stuttering or anything like that, because it's going to cause stress, and you don't want that. So you have to make sure that you've got at least 8 gig of RAM, and obviously a solid internet connection. Now, we can't help it. Sometimes our ISP, that's internet service provider, can be a bit janky, but we can always do little test streams before. We can test our speed, our upload and our download speeds. What you want is your up. You want to make sure that that is good. Your download speed is always great, but it's very unlikely that you're going to be downloading anything during your stream. Like I do, like I admit it, I do download games sometimes while I'm streaming, especially if it's a game that I want to play during the stream. Like I said, bare bones minimum, i5, 8 gig, a good internet connection, and a microphone. You know, the reason why I say a microphone is because we want to hear you. If you're like uncomfortable being on camera, you don't need a camera. Camera is literally not important at this stage. It is not important at this stage, but a microphone is. The reason why I say that is because if you're playing a game, people want to hear those reactions. Like when I do something, I sometimes call myself #PanicStream. I'm like, oh my god. People want to hear that vibe, especially if they've played the game before, and they're like, oh my god, I had that exact same feeling when they did that. You know, it's very much that. That's why having a mic allows you to also really connect with your audience. So what I did here is I added a spec check scenario, I guess. So it is really important as well, depending on the game you play, can also determine the spec that you need for your PC. Like I said, this is like a bare minimum, like for a PC or laptop. But if you've got a game that runs ridiculously high, that requires so much RAM, so much everything, you're not gonna get it on bare bones. So you have to make sure that you can check. And if you do have a game that can run on bare bones, you have to lower down the resolution. It may not look as pretty as you want, but you have to work with what you got, because last thing you need is for your stream to cut out because the game is taking up too much CPU. That is, especially if you're running it with other tools like OBS or Streamlabs. Streamlabs with a very high spec game will kill your stream. I will explain this a little bit later, because the CPU running on Streamlabs OBS is very high. I changed to OBS Studio from Streamlabs because of that, because I didn't want my stream to start faltering. So for example, we got The Sims 4, one game that I play quite regularly. So the CPU for that is bare bones i5, 4 gig of RAM, HDD, 15 gig available space. Now, even though you've got that 4 gig of RAM, it's still going to be asking you for 15 gig available space. Why? Because there are going to be updates. It has to accommodate for that. Why? Because Sims is a very full game. There is a lot in there, including items. Like for me, I'm a builder, so it's very important for me to have high space. Like 16 gig of RAM is perfect. i7 16 gig is perfect. Especially like for games like The Sims. I feel that that is very good. And again, it kind of gives you the base specs that you would need to play. And so, like I said, when you're going to buy any game, always check the specs to make sure that your machine can run it. This is a very important step, because the last thing you want is to just buy a game because you know you like it and then you can't stream it, because that is heartbreaking. Hardware setup. For extra hardware, this can include gear like cameras, lighting, green screens, capture cards, stream decks, headphones, and microphones. In addition, a lot of the most popular brands are brands like Logitech, Razer, Elgato, Yeti, Asus, HyperX, and Ava Media. We're going to move on to the software setup. Software setup is something that can be really easy or really difficult. It very much depends on what you're setting up for. So when streaming on Twitch from a desktop computer, the thought is that beginners should start with software encoders, unless they have, hardware encoders available. What this means is kind of like pre-installing software, unless your machine already has it. For example, I think, is it Razer? It might be Razer, but there is a computer software that actually allows you to start streaming without the use of things like OBS or Streamlabs. So again, it very much depends. I personally, my setup is OBS Studio. That's it. NVIDIA, thank you so much. Yeah, so I mean, I personally use OBS Studio, I use Streamlabs chatbot, and I have a bunch of other things that we do to kind of make the stream a little bit more unique. Here are two of the things that we can use. First of all, as I mentioned, there is Streamlabs OBS and there's OBS Studio. Both have pros and cons to them, so I'm going to go through with them, go through them with you guys now. And obviously, this is very, very, anyone can use any of these. And it's actually really, they're both useful in their own way. So we'll start off with Streamlabs OBS. The Streamlabs version of OBS has some really great features that help you monetize your channel a bit better. It's only available at the moment on Windows, but be very aware of your CPU. Now, I don't know if OBS has upgraded to Apple yet. That I didn't have a chance to check. However, Streamlabs OBS is usually what a lot of beginning streamers prefer to use because it has everything there. The user interface is simple and it's packed with features and designs. And after you install Streamlabs OBS, you can connect instantly to your Streamlabs account. It is very, very easy to use. I'll have to double check if it's on Apple. I'm pretty sure that it might be, because I know they did have an update recently, or a couple of months ago. So I know that it's somewhere. Now, the cons of using Streamlabs OBS is that the CPU usage is very high. When I first started using it, my CPU was, I believe, like between 46 and 52% every single stream, which meant that I had to lower my bit rate quite a lot in order for the stream to feel a bit more balanced. Now, another con with Streamlabs at the moment, which I really didn't like, is that most of the really good features are on a subscription base. As a new streamer, you don't want to be buying a subscription to make your stream look pretty. You may as well just invest the money and get an artist or a designer or an animator to just do it for you from the bat. You know, there are loads of other places that will actually allow you to have free overlays and things like that. But this is one thing about Streamlabs. This is my personal opinion. This is one thing about Streamlabs that I didn't like, to have a subscription to use some of their free stuff, because all of their stuff actually at one point or another was free. And obviously with the influx of streamers that have come in, it's now a chargeable subscription thing, which I personally don't like. OBS Studio. This is the top choice for many novice content creators and even expert content creators. OBS Studio is free, it's open source, and it has streaming software which is with a cross-platform compatibility. Now, think about Streamlabs OBS and OBS Studio like Apple and Android. Streamlabs is Apple, OBS is Android, which means one is open source and one isn't. Now, what closed source means is that any updates and anything like that only goes through that one place. It's very much like Apple. Cross-platform is multiple platforms, basically. You know, being able to stream on different platforms with like different options. For example, Twitch is not the only streaming platform out there. So it's more so for that. And I believe it is a little bit more limited on Streamlabs, which is why some people kind of prefer to move into different sites. So the pros of OBS Studio. It's very easy to add different sources. As you guys know, I have what's called Leorin board. That is when you guys redeem stuff in the channel points, have connected it to a Leorin board that pops something up. Now they aren't working right now because we're doing this this presentation. Also, the quality of your videos can come out, very, very well on OBS Studio. In fact, they can come out very high. I believe it's because of the encoder that they have on there, which is really cool. And like I said, you're actually able to use and add amazing features like Leorin board. Because it's an open source platform, it makes it a lot easier to trial a lot of different things out, to make your stream as unique as you want it to be. Now, the cons about OBS Studio is it can be very overwhelming. The layout isn't as pretty or as simple as Streamlabs OBS, but once you kind of get the hang of it, you'll start learning to like it. Now, I know that they used to do regular updates, but the updates nowadays are not as regular. And sometimes when you do close the program and it doesn't close fully, it may cause a crash. But luckily, that doesn't really happen while you're live. Sometimes it's happened for me after I've stopped streaming or I've stopped doing pre-records. But, with both of them, they're very balanced, I guess, in terms of the cons. Same thing with the pros. It all depends on what you want to use and how you want to use it. So I would say for any beginning streamer, try them both, see how one feels over the other, and you can do test streams. You don't have to, you can run it for like 10 minutes. Make sure your title is test stream, and just see what works for you. Go back and look at the recording, see how it feels, see how you feel your sound is, how you feel the video layout is, how the bit rate is, and you just test it out. And this is mainly for those that are indecisive about what platform to use. I know most streamers kind of already have an idea of what they want to use now. Next, we're going to move on to the bots. Now, bots are something, it's almost like a stream bread and butter in that sense. There's loads of different bots, way more than the 4 that I've listed here, but these are the 4 that I have used in the past and or still do use from time to time. So Nightbot is a good solid chatbot for your channel. It allows the user to automate chat in real time with moderation. It is one of the most used chatbots that has been around since the launch of Twitch and is still going. I know a fair amount of streamers actually use Nightbot because it has so many different features rolled into one, which makes it a lot more easier for what they're doing on stream. The next one is Stream Elements. This is something that we use. It moderates chat and keeps it clean. This Twitch bot includes modules, commands, spam filters, timers, and a bunch of other features like our gambling feature that we have in the chat. And the bot is already set up with 30 base commands that most streamers will use. You can actually choose which ones you have on and off. It's a very simple process. You just turn it off and on, whichever one you want, and you can set it up however you prefer, and the bot is all there and ready to go. Next is Streamlabs chatbot. Streamlabs chatbot is one of the most feature-rich and successful bots for streamers. I am using that right now. This is also one that I like to use. What it does, it actually allows me to use multiple features. I can put giveaways in there, song requests, sound files, counters, currencies. I can do mini games. I can add quotes, extra quotes, and all of those kind of things. And it has such a unique range of things, and all of that is totally free. Like, it's very, very rare that you're going to find a chatbot that has all of these features. I don't use all of the features because I couple my bots with other bots that I feel is more simplified for the stream. But I would, again, suggest you guys kind of using, just mix and match. See what you're comfortable with, which is the most important part. Next is Wisebot. Now, I have seen this in a few people's chat. I tried it once. I didn't personally like it. But Wisebot manages, monitors, and secures videos for streaming. This chatbot does consist of a robot that can scan chats, display notifications for subs, follows, and much more. Again, I don't really know too much about this because I used it once and I just didn't vibe with it too much. But these are usually like the main four that we normally see around the Twitchmosphere. So again, all of these things can be found online. Very, very simple. Cookie Crumb bot uses all of the bots that I use. It is my own personal bot that I made. I made a dummy account and I use that account to link up with my other chat bots, which allows it to push out notifications. So for example, in Streamlabs chatbot, you can add a bot account. This account is usually very dormant because it's only going to be used when you're streaming. And I link that Streamlabs chatbot to my Streamlabs, and then whenever we do a command, for example, if you guys do ! Question, that is linked up to my Streamlabs chatbot, and then my Cookie Crumb bot will actually respond. Just for an FYI, I usually sub my own bot because there are certain alerts that we have that use my emotes. So either I sub my bot myself or other people, go off and, they go and do that themselves. So Twitch page setup. Now this one is actually really, really important. This panel of information actually allows for people to get to know you a lot better. And it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the biggest things about Twitch that make us unique as streamers. It allows for people to actually see you and see what you're about. So if you scroll down in the panels now, you'll be able to actually see my panel information. It will have my profile pic, which, shows me, or if I have a cartoon version of myself. There are also other things that you guys can add, for example, like a banner, which is, you can create a graphic with your streamer logo that normally will sit up at the top. Your bio, which is your about page, which is your about section, sorry, and that will actually be right next to your profile pic. Now, with your actual about section, you don't need to make it big. You don't need to make it really, really big and descriptive, but I would suggest not to make it a one-liner because it's just like, I've seen some that are just like, oh, I like games, I like cooking, I like eating. That's not enough. That's not enough for me to get to know you, So for me, I give a little bit about myself, but I also talk about the community because that is what it's all about. Next is your panels, which again is what you can see if you scroll down. My panels are sections on the page that give a little bit more detail to who I am as a streamer. We have things like rules, schedules, what being a sub means, if people wanted to donate, what stream teams I'm on, where to find me when I'm not live. You know, there's so many things that you can actually create on your panels. Again, make sure it's short, sweet, but informative. So, you know, what you don't want is for people to start reading and then they get bored halfway through the sentence and they're just like, I'll just wait until the person's live and I'll make a judgment call. And then by that point, because they're not following, they may not come back. So what you want is to have something that is very informative, but to the point. Alerts. Obviously, you guys have seen my alerts. Alerts are what let you know of an event occurring within the stream. So when somebody subscribes, when somebody donates, when somebody follows, when somebody redeems something, when someone gives you bits, these are the things that will happen within your stream. And when this does happen, it allows you as a streamer to react and say hello. And, you know, it allows you to acknowledge the person that's performed the act. And that really, really, really does have a lot of leverage with people in there. So that is also a positive. All right, next we have commands. So as you guys know, we have a bunch of commands in the channel. For example, ! Question. If you guys have questions about what we're doing today, there will be a link that will populate and you guys can put your questions in there and I will get to them at the end of the presentation. We do have a lot to go through. And yeah, commands are something that are always going to be actively running when you're live. In addition to this, you can add as many commands as you want and only make sure that the ones that are relevant are the ones that are more visible for people. Emotes. This is something that obviously a lot of people kind of want. This is what people are aiming for when they become affiliated. So once affiliated, you can have emotes that reflect you and your channel. Now, what I would actually like to suggest with things like this is at least have one emote ready. Now, you can use places to get your emotes made for you, like Fiverr. Personally, I do not like Fiverr. I don't like Fiverr because there are a lot of things that are more shamble based on Fiverr. People copy other people's work. And if you do not know the authenticity of an artist, don't go with them. Always do your research. For me, I prefer to hire an artist who streams. For example, all of my work, all of my emotes, my sub badges, my bit badges are all done by Shy Fox because she does her art on stream. All of her work is 100% authentic, and I love her art style. When you go onto Fiverr, you're almost like playing Russian roulette, and it's not the same with every person on Fiverr. I've just seen a lot of people having bad experiences, which is one of the reasons why I do not use it. I prefer supporting streamers, therefore I will go to an art streamer or an animator that I know streams and support them that way. That is my preference. But if it's for the sake of saving money or whatnot, I would say it's up to you. I'm not going to encourage or discourage anyone from doing anything, but from my personal experience, I think you are much better off going with somebody who does art on stream, or who is a content creator elsewhere that you know you can say, right, that is 100% authentic. I'm going to go with that person. And sometimes, you know, streaming is not cheap. I'm going to make that very, very clear. Streaming is not cheap in the slightest. You know, you have to invest. If you want to do well and elevate yourself, you have to invest in yourself. And by investing in yourself, that means emotes, that means overlays, that means banners, that means logos, that means panels. This means everything that you want people to know you and see you for. And, you know, another reason why I do not like Fiverr is because I feel that artists there, especially the genuine artists, are being tarnished with that horrible brush. That's why I would rather support an artist that I know from Instagram or Twitch or someone who I know is a content creator. I prefer to do my research and find someone on recommendation or someone who I know personally and support them. But that, again, like I said, that's just me. You guys are free to do whatever you want and however you want, but that is just some genuine advice I would like to give you. Mod team setup. How do I pick my mod? Now, sorry, some people are very much like, oh, I don't really know anyone online. I don't really have anyone that can moderate for me. But you do. You can ask IRL friends to mod for you temporarily until you find someone within the community that is genuine for you. Or, you know, when you're in a community with people, you know, you can find someone there. I would always say your mods are extensions of you as a streamer. You know, their actions are a reflection of you. How they are, how they behave, how they look after your community is, again, a reflection of you. It's very, very important. Anyone that says, I can't find anyone, I have no friends, that is BS, because you can find friends anywhere. If you go to someone's stream and you get on with them very well, you just made a friend. Join their community, talk to people, get to know people, really, really, really get to know people genuinely and organically. And then when you're in a comfortable position, just say, would you mind being a temporary mod for me? And see how they are with you. See how you work together with them. And if they do work very well with you, say, would you mind being a permanent mod for the time being? And make sure that you show your mods love. My mods are the freaking best. They troll me, but they love me, and I troll them, but I love them too. And, you know, what mods are responsible for are keeping the rules kept, welcoming viewers, engaging in conversation, keeping the streamer calm, although it felt like it was the other way around on Monday. But performing commands and getting the channel hyped. You know, mods are so important to your channel. Whether you're starting or whether you're, you know, you're an expert streamer, a beginner streamer, someone in the middle, your mods are like a family. And the way I chose my mods, originally I had 2 moderators when I started. One of them was Dapper Dragon. He is pretty much one of my best bros. He actually got me into streaming. He is a streamer himself. And Shaz Motions, she was also a moderator for me as well. As the stream grew and as I started meeting new people, my moderator team started growing. We got people like Riker, Red, Cat Avenger, we got Valiant. We recently added Leshy and Panda to the Meow Mix. So, you know, it's all about building. I mean, we've had loads of mods that have been here that have helped out. You know, we've had wonderful mods like Van Toren, Sunachu, Nubsy. You know, we've had mods that have come and mods that have gone, but one thing still stays the same, and like there is always a mutual respect there. Now, next is your social media setup. Where will I be seen? Guys, this one is probably one of the most important ones, because this is what is shown when you're not streaming. Your social media platforms are ridiculously important, because what it does, it allows people to see what you're doing when you're not live, when you're not playing a game, when you're not teaching, when you're not having a chit chat, when you're not interviewing. Now, social media is something that we need in order for our viewers to have more insight to who we are. Items like Twitter, YouTube, Discord. People don't think that Discord is a social media platform, but it really is. Instagram and recently TikTok. Now, I would probably say each of these platforms have pros and cons, and each of them can be used differently. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but if you have at least 3 of these, then you can do what is called, you can break up your content and post them in different ways. For example, Discord is a very big social media platform. It actually allows us to chat to our viewers while we're not streaming. Me, I have what's called the Cookie Cafe, and the Cookie Crew are who I talk to on a regular basis. We're in those channels every single day. My whole MO as a content creator is to make sure that my community are treated like my family, because that's what you guys are to me. So every day I will come in and say hello. I'll give you guys updates, so you guys will have first-hand updates there. Another place to do it is Twitter. Twitter is very good for social interaction. You know, with here, you need to make sure that you have a, I wouldn't say to tweet every single day or retweet every single minute or anything like that, but you can always make sure that you have a nice little update. And it doesn't always have to be about your stream. This is where some people do make a bit of a mistake. You need to have a certain percentage which is about you, which I would probably say is about 60%. 30% should be retweets and showing people love and support, and then 10% should be more so about I'm going live, this is what I'm doing now, come and see me on the stream. This is called the 60-30-10 rule, and I've been using it for a matter of weeks, well, not a matter of weeks, sorry, a matter of months. And my last tweet that I had with regards to Monday's stream already has over 100 likes, because it's minimal, it's good engagement, but I don't stream every minute of every day, and I don't post every minute of every day, sorry. Another thing is Instagram. Instagram has a very odd algorithm, one that I will never ever be able to get. But Instagram is also good for posting stories, information, kind of things that you're doing yourself, you know, so people can get to know you a bit more. Like, I'll post a video of Missy eating my sushi, and like I'll put that on TikTok as well, and just kind of have people seeing what I'm doing when I'm not streaming. And again, that allows you to have some really nice engagement, so that when you do come on to stream, for example, the other day when I posted Missy eating my sushi, someone came in and they said, so Missy ate your lunch. And I'm like, yeah, it happened. And, you know, there are other platforms, for example, like Facebook, that you can use. But the problem that I find with Facebook is it is updating to keep up with the current social media platforms that we have. When I first started using Facebook, it was more of a social media platform where my friends and my family can all be on there, and we'll just have a bit of a chit chat. You can use it for interactions, but me personally, it's not a platform that I prefer to use. You can use it to build a community there, but that's, you know, you have Discord to build a community as well. So again, it's completely up to you.
お前はもう